Hey guys, so we were talking about sexual economics, right? And we are talking about how sperm and eggs create economic driving forces which lead to the creation of a market. So now we are going to talk about the sexual market, okay? And again, for those who are landing on this video, try to see the previous video. I'll put a link up here so that you understand the flow of things as I'm talking, all right? So in the previous video, I asked you to think about how this impacts people around us and the behavior. So let's talk about that. First of all, namaste everyone. So coming back to the market, we are going to look at men as buyers in this market and women as sellers, all right? And we are going to look at vaginas or eggs, basically the female reproductive ability as a very, very precious and valuable resource. And we're going to look at men and eggs as something which is filthy cheap and easily available, all right? Now when I'm talking about any of this, first of all, it's very important to realize that please, if you're watching my channel, put your morals aside, put your values aside, watch this only for an educational purpose, and do not attach positive or negative connotations to any word that I use in my speech, because I say shit, okay? So for those of you who get hurt, please don't watch my shit, all right? But anyway, for those of you who are sexy namaste people, we're gonna come back to this. And the reason why we're talking about this is because we want to understand the single force or the driving force behind almost every phenomenon that we witness, all right? So sex as a commodity and the ability of women to reproduce and men to reproduce. What we are looking at over here is the fact that women are the sellers and that this market is a seller's market, all right? What that means is it gives women the complete freedom and monopoly in deciding whom to mate with, okay? Because a man would mate, for example, like if you think about the sexual market value scale that we spoke about, so I'll put a link up here. And if there's a man at the top, all right, there's a man who's a 10, he will mate with any decently attractive woman when it comes to just having sex, all right? So he'll mate probably from 5 and above to all the way 10. Whereas women will not be so easygoing and they will be extremely selective in whom they mate with, okay? So I'm going to talk basically about sexual costs. But for now, the 10 in the woman will mate only with a 9 or a 10 or somebody who can be even better than 10. Why? Because we said that it is a very valuable resource that she has and she cannot afford to just give it away to anyone, because in the previous video we spoke about the biological need to make sure that our genes survive, all right, or the hardwiring or the evolutionary hardwiring or whatever you want to say. So the aim is to make sure that our genes survive and they keep reproducing so that our genes are continuously in existence and do not become extinct. So because of this, the woman has to be pretty sure of who she mates with, because she has that limited set of supply available. And when she mates with a man, she has to make sure that it's a good enough man so that the offspring is also as good and has very, very good chances at reproduction at whatever level is possible for them. Okay, and let's talk about the price basically. All right, so why I said it's a seller's market is because the better the woman is on the sexual market value scale. So let's say if she is a 10 or a 9 or an 8, she decides the price at which she sells her commodity. Okay, so she decides the price at which she sells her ability to reproduce, because however hot she is, or like however beautiful or however amazing or like however you want to measure sexual market value, which we know is measured in terms of beauty and youth, because they are the they are the main determining factors of fertility in a woman, that she gets to pick and choose the man she mates with. So the better she is, the more selective and pricey she will be. So if you will see hot girls, they will rather prefer to remain single in your society if there is no decent man available. There will be at least 1500 guys who will be after a hot girl, but if none of them match up to her level or are better than her, she will not get into a relationship or mate with them, unless she's like extremely desperate and like wants a dick real bad. So in that case, my email is below. All right. But anyway, jokes apart, I hope you're getting what I'm saying, that if she's a hot girl, loads of guys will be after her. As I said, that almost all the guys on this scale will fuck almost all the girls on this end of the scale. But the truth of the matter is that the girls will only pick them or better. All right. The girls will only pick somebody at their level or better. All right. And the price for men is measured in terms of the quality of the genes which they're bringing to this interaction. All right. So as we spoke about sexual market value and we spoke about status and confidence, or instead of status, I also use the term wealth in today's society. All right. Status and confidence, the better a man is in that, in a way, the more successful his genes are, because they are the two primary traits which women find attractive. All right. So those traits, the better they are in any of these men, the better their chances at reproduction, because they'll be higher on the sexual market value scale and they will be able to afford more women to mate with. All right. So if somebody's a 10, he can literally pick anybody from the woman's side of the scale between 1 to 10. Whereas if somebody's a 7, he can only pick probably 7 or below. All right. Because as we said, the market is in favor of women. All right. So if it is in favor of women and if they're selling something which is in short supply, why won't they charge a high price for it? And remember this, because this will lead to me making a video on hypergamy, which explains this phenomenon of women only picking higher quality males than themselves, or the same quality at least, in the future. Okay. So while we're talking about the sexual market, like how any business has a strategy to it, we are going to look at males and females and the strategies they use to navigate themselves in this sexual market. All right. And the strategies the strategies they use can very simply be termed as quality versus quantity. Women go for quality. Why? Because as we said, the supply is limited, and the result of that limited supply is that they have to make sure that they select the best genes possible. Whereas men go for quantity. Why? Again, because their supply is very, very high. So the more women they mate with, the higher chances of the higher the chances of them leaving an offspring in the world and making sure that their genes continue. All right. So they will go after quantity, and women will go after quality because they know that like having a child has a much higher cost for a woman, which is something called sexual cost, which I'll talk about in the next video. That's why they make sure that they go for the best possible male available for them. So they want him to be of good genetic stock, and they want to make sure that he's somebody, if he is the one they have a child with, that the child is also extremely successful. Okay. So now I'm again, like, all of this information is something which I've gained over years and years of studying and experience and actually witnessing it in the world. So that is why I'm trying to break this down into bits and pieces, so that I give you guys a bit of this information, and I want you to think. I want you to put this in your mind and actually start looking at life around you, okay? And see if this makes sense to you or not. Because if not, then please tell me. I would love to learn. Because a lot of things which you come to realize after acquiring this information is that everything is not as happy and colorful as it is shown us to be like. All right. So think about this particular market dynamic of the buyers versus sellers. All right. Think about how women pick and choose and how men pick and choose. Think about how this relates to the sexual market value scale. Why men and women, why men with status and confidence are more attractive, and why women with the good amount of beauty to them and youth are attractive. All right. Write it in the comments. Ask me questions if you have to, and I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be called sexual costs. See you.